Yo, what is up everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 17 online game. Today, the 32-team preview series for the upcoming NFL season moves on to the NFC West, and we start off with the team that is most likely to finish at the bottom of the NFC West, the San Francisco 49ers. I'm not saying that out of disrespect. I think 49ers fans will agree with me that they're not really worried about this year's record. In fact, they'd probably want to tank this year unless their team is surprisingly really good and worry about getting next year's draft pick, try to get the #1 overall pick or something like that. And this season is mainly about developing talent. The problem with developing talent on the 49ers is that a lot of these guys on this team are just veteran stopgap players that aren't blue chip players on the Niners. Like the quarterback position, you got Matt Barkley and Brian Hoyer. Brian Hoyer is probably going to be the starter, but he really doesn't do much for the team. And then the wide receiving core, there's not really any guys that they've drafted lately. Like right now, the Niners, all they really want to do is develop the guys that they drafted the past 2 or 3 seasons, who are mainly on the defensive side of the football. On the offensive side, you got Pierre Garçon, good veteran, not a blue chip player. You got Jeremy Curley, came from the Jets. He did pretty good for the Niners as the slot receiver last year, but not a blue chip wide receiver. On the offensive line, there's a lot of veterans. You got Jeremy Zuta, formerly from the Ravens. You got Joe Staley, longtime Niner. You got Fusco, who used to be on the Vikings, I believe. And then you got one guy that they just drafted. I believe Garnett, his name is. Garnett, the right guard. And then Gilliam, who's pretty trash on the Seahawks. I don't even know why he's on this team. Is projected at the right guard spot. But out of all those offensive linemen, out of basically all the offensive players, the only really young guys that they're trying to develop is the running back that they drafted this year, Carlos Hyde, and Garnett, the right guard. So the offense right now really doesn't have much to look forward to. And, you know, like I mentioned before with the Bears, I like the direction they were going. They had a lot of young pieces. They had somewhat of an identity, somewhat brewing with the offensive line and Jordan Howard on the offensive end. The 49ers have absolutely no sense of direction. And that's part of what John Lynch was hired to do, figure out what to do with this team, because it's an absolute mess right now. And when you're talking about the 49ers, you got to talk about who they drafted lately, because that's more of, you know, what's been going on. Last year, they drafted DeForest Buckner with the 7th overall pick, defensive end. I absolutely loved Buckner last year. You know, you got to face some double teams at a certain point as a rookie because he was probably their best pass rusher. I really like his game. I really like his game as a rookie. I was impressed by him. Now, me being impressed by him doesn't mean that he's really good. I just thought he was, you know, good, powerful lineman. As far as a pass rusher, I don't know about run defense kind of guy, but as a pass rusher, he looked really good, and he could be one of those blue chip players for the Niners that they're sorely looking for right now. Another guy that could be a blue chip player right beside him, Solomon Thomas. We have not seen him play because he just got drafted. He was a 3rd overall pick. He's the guy that they probably would have taken 2nd overall if the Bears didn't offer a king's ransom. And then, on top of that, they moved back into the 1st round this year and grabbed Reuben Foster. A lot of people like Foster. He kind of slid down in the draft at the end of the 1st round, came out of Bama, and, you know, a lot of guys that come out of Alabama are pretty good, and Reuben Foster might be that next guy. They let Gerald Hodges walk. He was pretty good for them last year. I believe he led them in tackles. So right now, Reuben Foster is going to be learning under Navarro Bowman. If Bowman comes back and does well, that's cool. You don't really need him to, but it would be good to have Bowman around that locker room to teach the guys the young guys some things. And if Bowman plays, you know, Bowman is still a good linebacker, just that he got hurt last year, didn't really get to play. But him and Foster together, you know, could be a pretty good matchup for them. That's what they're hoping for. They've thrown a lot of darts just straight across the board, hoping that they land the bullseye with one of these cornerback positions. They've drafted 3 cornerbacks the last 2 years, and they're just hoping one of those guys can be pretty decent, because that secondary right now, even Eric Reed he hasn't really shown the elite safety promise that we've been waiting for him to show. This is just great Madden, by the way. Like, that wasn't really my best read, but come on, Madden. But yeah, the safety spots, you know, you got Tart, who they drafted. I haven't never seen him really do anything big. Eric Reed, he's a hard-hitting safety, and it looks like he's got a lot of potential. He's moving to the strong safety spot this year, so hopefully he gets things going, but you know, they're going to try to play him more towards the line since he's that kind of hard-hitting player. He's a cheese guy to use in Madden, but in, you know, real life, he hasn't been that next great safety for the 49ers yet. We'll see how it goes. He's still got time to develop. But the other really notable guy in their secondary is Jimmy Ward. That's it. Besides, you got all these guys that they drafted. Witherspoon, Beathard this year. They drafted Rashard Robinson last year. They drafted Redmond. Actually, one of those guys I said is a quarterback. My bad. I saw cornerback and quarterback. I'm looking at the draft class right now, and I read the wrong thing. That guy's actually a quarterback, so maybe he'll see some playing time. Who knows? And the running back that I mentioned, by the way, Joe Williams, he might challenge Carlos Hyde for the starting spot. We might see the Niners try to trade people this year, like Navarro Bowman, and try to get picks, because that's one thing they'll also be trying to do next year, because they already have 2 second-round picks and 2 third-round picks. So might try to stack up on that. Also in last year's draft, or not really last year's draft class, you can even look 3 draft classes to go. 2015, you got Eric Armstead, who hasn't really done much. I mentioned Tart, Eli Harold, and that's part of the problem with the Niners. This is how the Niners fell apart. The Niners built their dynasty a couple of years ago by drafting as well as any other squad. They just built a ferocious defense with that draft, mainly. And then they got Kaepernick, who was a steal at the time. You had Frank Gore, the veteran running back, the great offensive line, but they just fell apart in the draft the last couple of years. A lot of guys retired on them unexpectedly. Like Borland retired on them. Even the older guys like Justin Smith, a longtime Niner, he retired on them. Patrick Willis retired on them, and they just have not been able to recover. And part of the recovery process is through the draft, which is why this year's draft really needs to be a home run. But as long as they don't have the quarterback or even the running back right now, or even an offensive line that could be, you know, a young offensive line that could grow with this team, there's not much of an identity to be grown right now. Like, their highest paid offensive player might actually be their fullback, Juszczyk. I really don't know why the hell they got him. Maybe they're trying to build some sort of smash mouth offensive line, but I don't know. They don't even have the pieces for that. So I honestly don't really know the direction of this Niners squad. Like, looking at them, I can tell they're trying to build something on that defensive line. They're trying to get that front 7 going because they've drafted defensive linemen in the first round of the last 3 drafts. So that's got to say something about what they want to be. They want to have the Alden Smiths and the Justin Smiths and, you know, Ahmad Brooks, that old defensive line that was just killing people. But they just don't even have that. I don't even know who their defensive tackles are right now, man. I guess Armstead's going to be moving inside a little bit just to try to get him some playing time, but and maybe Solomon Thomas might. I don't even know, man. I really don't know the direction of this squad. So, I said I like the Bears thing. I do not like. I don't know what the Niners is. I can't say I don't like it. I don't know what it is. So I guess I don't like it since I don't understand it. But I mean, that's like I said. That's why John Lynch was hired to try to figure out what the hell to do with this team because not really looking too hot. So let me. I want some Niners fans to let me know what you guys think the direction of this team is / what it should be. What you guys want this team to do next year and in the draft afterwards, and if you guys want to see them trade away players and what's going on with the quarterback spot. I'm sure next year they're probably in spot for a really high draft pick. They might try to get a quarterback with that pick. They must have not liked Trubisky this year because they had a chance to take a potential franchise quarterback in number 2 and passed up on him. So we'll see what they do, man. So leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. We won with the Niners. I really don't know how. 34-0. I don't know how we pulled off this miracle. We just played pretty cleanly on offense for the most part. But yeah, leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more. If you guys want a record prediction on the Niners, really bad, all right? Really bad. There's no shot, I don't think, that the Niners finish above 4-12 record. I wouldn't give them a chance of finishing above 4-12. 4-12 and under. I think this team is like really a 2-14 team or 3-13, and they're going to be competing for the number 1 overall pick. I think they're the favorite for the number 1 overall pick, in fact. Maybe even over Cleveland. We'll see. Leave a like in the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe for more, and I'll catch you guys next time.